The Black Speculative Arts Movement is a convention exploring the many facets of Afrofuturism in various mediums, including art, books, and comics. Held at multiple universities, colleges, and venues abroad, the festival enjoyed its second year at the University of Toronto, where its organizers and attendees explore, create, and inspire a future with the perspective of the African diaspora.
It started as a description of the term. It's like a collective of artists, authors, scholars, activists from all across the country and overseas.
And the distinction in this movement, we're saying it has several different points of inquiries, and so BSAM acts as an umbrella entity to attract those different perspectives in a convention format.
And throughout this convention on Black sci-fi and fantasy, the term Afrofuturism is often heard. For some, it relates to the stories they tell.
Afrofuturism to me is basically about science fiction from an African perspective.
A lot of science fiction movies I've noticed since I was a kid are devoid of black characters, but I like to see more stories like Nalo Hawkinson with her book Brown Girl in the Ring, Octavia Butler, who my mom is in love with, so seeing all those great stories and seeing all the beautiful stuff that some of the artists here are doing, it really embodies what Afrofuturism is for me.
Forecasting what's coming up in the future and where our African people's place is within that future.
For others, it's about gaining prosperity through creativity.
Afrofuturism to me is creating and keeping the black dollar inside our own community, expanding it to other people's communities so we could start owning our own businesses, owning our own comics, owning our own publishing companies, and people actually know about it. So we don't even, at the end of the day, have to call it black comics. We're just as big as everybody else. It's just another comic that happens to be owned by a black person.
People that are practicing this 2.0 black futurity, we have no memory of segregation, we have no memory of colonialism, and so we are born after those periods, and so then we're going to think differently from our parents and grandparents.
The great thing about BSAM is not only are we pushing forward artists that aren't as known, these artists are getting to know each other.
It's great to know that people are on the same wavelength so you don't feel like you're alone.
I mean, it's important for something like this for our community to have an outlet, to get our art out there.
We really look forward to events like this every single year.
The Black Speculative Arts Movement is a convention about just that, a movement to empower artists to envision and create the future.
We don't just talk about art or comics and anime, we talk about the politics surrounded with art because we say that the Black Speculative Arts Movement is a counterpoint to the political struggles that young people in the inner city or around the world in various ghettos, favelas, that are experiencing right now. Because if a person can imagine themselves being free or having some type of political equity, then they are going to put in the work to try and make that into a reality.